You have to be present via brand mediums.
BTL activities is still playing a very important role.
You need to have your attribution model set.
We walking out to the customer. There is a whole class which says relationship is important. Anybody with a laptop can be a travel agent.
Choosing the right influencer for the right region is very important.
कि अगर कोई प्रॉब्लम होगी मेरे पास कोई आदमी होना चाहिए.
कि ड्रीम ट्रिप का एक एड ट्रैव टॉक में छपा है, ठीक है, सो इट्स अ रियल सोर्स.
All marketing is not necessarily ROI-led marketing. Firstly, there is a whole set that you create today in order to be in the consideration set 3 months hence as well. So if you try the conventional way that today I will do a post or I'll do an ad and I'll get results tomorrow, I think then you are in a different mistaken world. Ideally, you have to be present in the customer's mind when he decides to take a holiday. That is one kind of an investment that as a brand that we undertake, so that we continuously engage with our customers in order to have a top of mind recall, because in our case particularly we are pretty widespread. We do not have the owner customer relationship. It's our staff that does it. Probably Prateek or Ashutoosh would be much better to answer that owner-customer relationship, given the closeness of the customer that they may have. Whereas we have our teams working on ground. So in that sense, the ROI that we look at partially is brand-led campaigns which keep the brand alive in the mind of the customer, and then there is more closer looking ROI, which is BTL activations. Which we do very often on the ground, where our teams operate on the ground, like events like road shows, vernacular trade events, otherwise trade events, being present in society activations, the holiday melas and so on and so forth, which is where you get to some extent instant and then within a week kind of result where they are measurable. So in that sense, your question can be answered in two parts. Therefore, one is what we do on the brand and the other is on instant results, and as an organization we believe that we have to do both. We cannot survive only on one, because increasingly the customer is also hearing a lot of noise, and to be a brand which is in his mind space, you have to be present in both the directions. While conventionally we are a well-known brand, but today you are competing in the space with everybody who's present, whether it is a mom and pop shop or a local operator, state level operator or national operators. Some of them have significantly bigger budgets than us, especially in the state levels that we compete in, and they have a smaller market size to use that budget in. Therefore, you have to be present via brand mediums, both on social and non-social, in order to be in the customer's mind space. When it comes to the BTL activations today, the fact also is that increasingly customers prefer their own time to do the holiday shopping, and therefore no better day than doing a BTL in his physical presence or his own comfortable time to get him to consummate the transaction, so to say. So therefore, this decision that to mix our marketing in various ways and not just one, or use the conventional print ad kind of methodology which was there pre-pandemic much more, and that's where we have also moved away from increasingly, and instead of a model of customer walking into our branches, we walking out to the customer.
I'll break it down into two parts. One is pre-pandemic and one is post-pandemic. My company is like 18 years old. This is when I started this company. So before COVID, we were more into, as Romil said, we were more into customer-led activities like BTL activities. I still have an office which is in Meerut, wherein we tap the UP market. And even today, so I can't just say that, we have, when we shift towards the consumer-based activities like Instagram and all that really helps. But even BTL activities still playing a very important role for me from that particular market. And when it comes to the metro cities like Delhi, Bangalore, Mumbai, we are doing a lot of Instagram ads, a lot of social media, Google ads. So we are getting solid ROI from that perspective as well. So I would say both are working pretty good for us. Post pandemic, again, I would say social activities like Instagram ads or Google AdWords, they give you instant results. All right, but we majorly sell long haul destinations. So at times you need to spend a lot of money on the ads and the conversion rate is too less. But at the same time, when it comes to tier 4 cities, when you give ads, the traditional way it was happening, people are more keen into those sort of, they see those ads and they come back to you, and the ROI is literally amazing from that side.
Typically, what we are also seeing is that a lot of face-to-face connect with the customer, doing these activations works much better in tier 2 and tier 3 towns. Customers are very happy and energized that there is somebody who has taken out a day and has arranged something where he can meet up with them.
Yeah.
They are happy. They treat that opportunity as a family event.
Yeah.
Whereas in a larger metro, you still have that thing that, okay, I'm happy to look at something digitally. I will connect with you digitally. There is a whole class which says relationship is important, but I think this is still prevalent like our own Indian society and culture, where small cities mein the relationship and the warmth and that personal association and touch is there that he talked about his office. So I think that works very well in these cities.
Yeah.
I'd like to add to that, especially in tier 2 cities, I have a lot of customers and doctors as a client base in the entire UP. They need to be told what needs to be sold. The AOVs are much higher. You do a lot of customization for them. There's a lot of value add. Even if you look at people running their own businesses, people don't approach them. They are happy that somebody is coming and talking to them about a holiday. So again, it's a combination of how you present to your customer and segmenting your customers to understand what works for which customer base. That also becomes very important. I look at it as terms of distribution. So when a customer discovers us, whether through digitally or through a local event, or since we have a store in some of these markets, so customer has a choice. He can either interact with us digitally or come down and visit a store. So it becomes an entire 360-degree way he can come and interact with us. So it's about creating that distribution muscle. For me, this is how I look at it. So whenever a customer is going around or exposed to your brand in a local market and then he sees a number of stores in a different market also, that also helps with the brand building activity. We always build a campaign in such a way that we attribute it to a certain number. So for example, if a Janmashtami campaign which I'm doing in a local BTL market, I would have my entire collaterals with a different number on it, right? And whenever a customer interacts on it, we would obviously tag it to that this is the person in this date and this activity came, and then we are able to calculate the number of leads generated, the ROI and everything. So again, you need to have your attribution model set. So for example, whether it's how much they do a holiday or something, and whatever data they're generating over there, whether it's physically writing is attributed to one particular activity, and then you can easily create a ROI map on it. For the next 5 years, we're necessarily looking at being very densely penetrating into the Northern India market and then moving towards West, which again, if you look at it, both the Northern and the Western market is still about 80% of the entire travel business, and then gradually moving towards South and then to the East. East is always the tough nut to crack.
Performance marketing is an emerging field, or rather it's still not fully taken off. But I believe that depending upon the life cycle stage you are, and even today we do brand building, to be very honest about it, because the travel space, and I keep saying this, that unlike the West or unlike developed markets, the travel space is a very, very easy field to get in for anybody. Anybody with a laptop can be a travel agent.
No entry barriers.
Right? There are no entry barriers. And it's a fiercely competitive space where people can sacrifice margins for growth, and you can sacrifice growth for margins. Now it's a decision point that you have to take, and where you balance it in the life cycle of your organization, depending upon your cost structures, depending upon how you want your brand to be perceived, and so on and so forth. So in that sense, it's something that each one will have to take a decision for their own. Whether you want to grow at a rapid pace and at the cost of margins and profitability, or whether you want to grow at a reasonably benign pace, keep in touch with the market, but at the same time run a profitable business, which my belief is that you should always look at profitability
over everything,
over a sense of growth, while don't compromise on your growth, but don't completely go under. So performance marketing or brand marketing plays a big role. But then how is brand marketing getting converted into your brand being successful? The end result is how many customers ultimately are coming to you. So you asked a very good question from Ashutoosh in terms of how do you measure the result. You can have multiple measures, like one is a phone number being changed, the other could be what is your new to company ratio. While we all talk about repeat rates, and repeat rates is a very good measure of your customer success, that you are serving your customers well, but increasingly your business will increase only if new customers also get associated with your brand to experience services. So there has to be a mix of you pushing on your repeats, but at the same time getting new to company customers. You have to mix. What works for Prateek will probably not work with me. I would want 20% plus YOY growth. My repeat will keep, as long as my repeat is about 35-40%, I am happy. But that would mean that I still need 12 to 15 new customers a day, a year, right? If I have to move from 100 to 120, and my 30% last year was 30, and this year 120 ka 30% is say 40, then I will need another 80 there instead of 70 earlier. So I have to keep balancing that act.
We are more into influencers marketing. Even if you see our page today, we have got a couple of influencers who are right in some parts of the world, and they make good content for us, because if you see the newer generation, they are more influenced by what influencers, what content they are making. So of course they give you a good brand value, and the brand which we have created for years. So I see a good ROI in terms of...
You see brand building ROI here, or you see a conversion ROI?
Both of them. Both is happening at the same time. Because we really wanted to do this from long time. And now from last 2 years, we are completely into it. And literally we are getting a good ROI out of it. We have got one influencer who has very good influencer over the local market, like kind of local, it's like a drama he was in, and he had a very good influence on the, एक तरीके से आप कह सकते हैं जो मतलब family sort of stuff, ठीक है ना? So because the summer holidays are coming, we really wanted to tap it, and he had good 3-4 million followers, and he is in Singapore now. And the way he is promoting it, I mean, literally we already started getting queries, not just queries, we already had conversions. 2 years back, we didn't know that we will immediately get conversions. But him being there, we literally see a huge demand. It again depends from influencer to influencer and what product you want to target. ठीक है ना? If you, अगर आप सोचते हो कि नहीं मेरे को तो 10 मिलियन वाला ही चाहिए, and 10 मिलियन वाले की वो reach नहीं है what you're looking for.
Correct.
The clientele what you need. So there is no point sending that influencer to a market which doesn't help you. So choosing the right influencer for the right region is very important. That's what I feel. I have a PR person. Yeah, so she's the one who looks at the influencer management. And even if you, yeah. So it's a separate division which we have built from last 2 years. We didn't have it before, honestly. And you know, you have to play with every strategy. What works well for you. When we send influencer, if I'm particularly looking to tab a market, let's say Lucknow, all right, I would try to hire an influencer who is from Lucknow itself, who knows that market very well, who has that sort of reach,
a bit of influence.
Yeah, who can influence their own people. So that is more important.
I would like to add, in terms of the influencer marketing, you can today look at as for brands as hiring a brand ambassador without investing too much into it, and you have a chance where you can play around with multiple influencers and see what works for you. For an established company like a Thomas Cook, it's easier to become a brand and then build onto that popularity and attract your customer. For smaller players like us, it becomes very easy that you keep on hitting different niches, you keep on hitting different influencers and see what works for which segment of your customer.
Yes, when Prateek said something very interesting, which Ashutoosh is also echoing, and I'll third it actually. You don't need to necessarily look at the number of followers of the influencer.
Yes.
What will work in Merit will probably be, again I'll keep taking the example of Merit, but 50,000 wala influencer,
micro-influencer actually
50,000 wala influencer will work more who will speak the local dialect, because if you get a very fancy English speaking influencer in Merit, it will collapse. Similarly, when you are doing, and you have to keep sharpening this axe. I don't know how long the influencer will work upon. Right now it is working, last 2-3 years it's working. I do not know, because influencer is also I will not. It keeps getting. It's a challenging market to be in.
It's life cycle for each other.
One, it is life cycle, and secondly, because of the bandwagon, a lot of people jump in.
And
who are not necessarily the right fit for your brand.
Exactly. So, like choosing a brand ambassador, you need to be very cognizant of the fact that the influencer which you're bringing on board doesn't have those kind of reels which, as a parent or as somebody sitting with your family, you'll not be okay to looking at, or even showing on Instagram to somebody.
No relevance to
so
you.
That also becomes a very important part in the decision matrix. Again, 80 to 85% would be related to a holiday, but it's for a specific hotel and it's segmented to a luxury client. Then you would get for an Antara or for a Marriott or somebody else. Again, how you structure that campaign is also very important. If it's a specifically Anantara kind of a campaign, then you would want those to hit, and then the relevance and the brand value of the influencer comes into play.
So, Nikhil, I'll just add to what he said, and I think you have to be very, very sharp and subtle with the way you're promoting another brand. So, if you want to do Anantara in the influencer campaign, the way it has to come out should not be seen as an advertise.
Yeah.
Because the moment there are large, very large influencer companies now in India, and which sometimes they also do developers se leke restaurants, and I don't want to name anybody, but you can completely see through that this is an advertisement. Supposing you're doing an experience, as an example. Supposing an influencer goes to Bali, does the Bali swing, then it can get that experience. That Bali swing is a fantastic experience because there is no financial motive around this. Plus, there is no financial motive around this.
Right.
But you have to be very subtle when you're talking about a hotel. Maybe you can talk about the series of hotels. Maybe I don't know the content. I'm not a content guy, but the way you have to position your content has to be very, very careful. Because some of the influencers, like in every field, like in our own business, there are good travel agents, there are bad travel agents, right? Similarly, influencers also, there are good influencers, there are influencers who may not be fitting your brand value. Or third would be influencers where you see a lot of followers, but at the same time, those followers, like both these gentlemen said, are actually dud followers and they are all farmed followers.
I'll add to Romil. अगर हम बात करते हैं ये चाय वाला जो एक influencer है, which is like very famous nowadays, Dolly. अगर उसको हम कहीं भेजेंगे, doesn't matter how many followers he has, it will be of no use to us. Honestly, the audience is not what we are looking for.
They're already doing it. It's the reality of life currently. A lot of influencer-led companies have come up, and who are influencers first have now become travel agents also. So this is a fact of life you keep on fighting, and as he said, there are no entry barriers, so you deal with it. It's about understanding your customer, which part of cycle he is, what kind of service is associated, and you build around it. You currently have a lot of AI things coming in. You can book anything on you, and experiences around the people we know all about it.
Yeah.
See, the way we use technology will determine our future. That's the reality. If an customer, so today, Nikhil, I invite you. Actually, you can come to any of my branches. It's always an open invitation, and come see customer behavior. When a customer comes to my branch, he doesn't sit for 10 minutes. He sits for at least an hour plus.
Right.
He does that research with why is he coming to my branch? Because he can do all that research that he comes with on Meta, on Google, on ChatGPT, Grok, everywhere. But he comes because he wants the advisory and personal assurance and a voice. I keep calling this, मेरी एक theory है, इसका नाम मैंने रखा हुआ है, head on the platter theory also.
Yeah.
कि अगर कोई problem होगी, मेरे पास कोई आदमी होना चाहिए.
Right.
I can pick up the phone from anywhere in the world and dial a Prateek Wadhwa. That's why these customers are sticky with him. If my passenger is stuck at Charles de Gaulle and his taxi doesn't come, he will call my sales guy. Right? This is something which, while there are lots of engines which are there. There are lots of online portals which are there. Why a customer comes to us is because he wants this support. And going ahead also, we are all human beings. We will want, we can, I and you can both read ChatGPT and we can give all answers. But question ये है कि मुझे advisory चाहिए और हम वो देते हैं और human relationship देते हैं.
It's the skin in the game. I'm spending 2 lakh, 3 lakh rupees on a product, and I want somebody I can trust who will guide me correctly and ensure that money is not wasted.
Correct.
See, there are again set of people today who doesn't rely on these social media ads and all that. They want they want a real source where that ad is coming from. ठीक है? Let's say अगर हम आपके किसी TravTalk से अगर किसी इस मैगजीन से कोई ad आता है, and you know if you see that ad कि ड्रीम ट्रिप का एक ad TravTalk में छपा है, ठीक है? So it's a real source. It's a real source. So you have to balance it out. People still want to sit in the morning with a newspaper and see the ads. What are there in Times of India's ad today? ठीक है ना? And that's they know the source. They trust the source. And वही है.
And just to answer in terms of how the influencers and AI and everybody is trying to poach your business and everything, I was recently reading ChatGPT is coming with ads. Ultimately, this entire play was about to bring revenue to another different stream.
Exactly.
We have integrated a number of things where customer journeys are calculated. We know exactly where the customer is dropped off, what kind of activation needs to be done. On our existing database, we do a lot of data cuts and run different activation campaigns, and that's how we keep our customer engaged. Even if somebody's traveled with me 10 years before, there would be some way would have been still engaging him on top of the mind recall. So you have to manage your entire data in different cycles. So a major part of your marketing becomes retention marketing. And that's how you divide. So I'm coming back to the first question, that how would we be dividing your budgets? Say about 20-30% would into brand marketing, about 40%, 50% into performance, and the rest into retention marketing also. Because there the cost of acquisition is practically zero. So this is how would you manage the entire, and whoever manages the data should be doing relatively well. So the WhatsApp thing also is in a way of doing retention marketing only because you would know your customers, you would have certain distribution list, and whether it's a 26th January or a Diwali greeting or something, I often when I send out a WhatsApp, I would immediately generate 10 to 15 bookings just from that. Somebody would call me, Ashutoosh, please book this for me or give me a quote on this.
Roughly, it would be a very similar way in which we all look at our data. First is existing customers. Existing customers ki farming is data, using data only. And you keep telling them what is new in this travel space as well as for them. Then you also use the data to keep influencing them or keep getting in new offers to them. What is in it for me if I book now? Third is information, because unlike the past when India's traditional travel market was peaking in April, May, June, now we look at that there are opportunities throughout the year.
It's busy season, it's super busy.
So busy,
exactly.
There is no shoulder. So customer does 3 travels this year. So what is the new idea that has come up with, right?
Yeah.
So that is the third use. After that, then you look at how you can get more people, how you can get new to customer, new to company. So how do you get your existing ones to give you more reference? How do you use BTL to get new people to the BTL activation? In BTL activations, our aim is never to get the same existing customer. We always try to get new customers. That's the intent of all these activities, and spends are very similar. Also, it's a function of what stage of the year you are in, how your numbers are trending in terms of your investments, whether you want to invest right now in Europe versus whether you want to invest right now in Japan or in China. New destinations opening up. Can you afford to even miss out on a China right now? No. Can you afford to now today, over the last 3-4 days, you all know that Greece has got opened up with the flights. Can you afford not to invest in that destination? You will be left behind in the race.
Exactly.
Right? So you will have to keep amending your strategy. You will have to keep sharpening your axe. And we are in a extremely volatile or extremely, not I would say volatile, but in a fluid environment. So all of us have to keep an eye on what is the market. We have to keep an eye on what our product range is. If we have invested in certain destinations, how do we sell those inventories, and then take these decisions.
Yeah, so when it comes to the database which we have, so we try and put every minute detail we could get it from the client, be it their birthdays or anniversaries, and we send them newsletters from time to time. And abhi recently, like 2 mahine pehle, so my top 300 consumers, top 300 customers, we did a cocktail party for them in Leela Ambience Mall. Trust me, they loved it. That's how you try and retain your old customers, because there are so many players coming day by day. I'll add to Romil what he earlier said. एक छोटा सा agent भी अगर आता है, with a computer, with a laptop, he can challenge you anytime.
For us, repeat customers add up to the entire lifetime value.
Yeah.
Correct. So that is the most important metric, because I don't have to again go and keep on acquiring a customer again and again and again. Somebody who's traveled with us for at least 2 to 3 times would give references. So again, maintaining the relation with the customer becomes the most important thing.
You have to take your decisions basis the customer's lifetime relationship. I'll give you a very simple example. If you have done 3 travels with me, 4th time you come to me, you have a issue with your visa and your visa has got refused, I would go out of the way to ensure that I do not charge you anything.
Exactly.
Because I know that and you'll be happy saying that, look, I came to this organization, Thomas Cook, and because of my relationship, while I may incur short-term losses at times, but in long term I will be happier. I will still, I know I'll cover that loss. See, each of our regions or clusters beyond the regions and so on and so forth have these have a very granular breakdown of their targets. What is your repeat rate? We track that repeat rate. We share what Prateek did with 300 customers. We do with in various cities. We actually have a name for it. We call it Abhar. So Abhar is something that you're going back and meeting these customers. We invite them, do a session for them where we tell them to just talk about their travel. Then we've got since we've got that scale, we also have tour managers who engage with these customers regularly. We use their relationship built over the tours to keep farming this set. In the end, it is all about making the customer feel wanted, which like you said very correctly, we are able to do. Wherever I have seen, wherever the local teams are able to do it, their targets are met year on year, month on month. Wherever you have weaker teams, and that's the reality of our system, where we have weaker teams on ground, where we have people who are not that enterprising, they will have challenges. So it's a part of process.
We do a lot of social media ads. So we specifically run for countries like Australia and New Zealand, wherein you know these products very well. And so when customer comes, especially for these products, so they see our name everywhere. All right. Be it on the Australia tourism website or Google AdWords, like we are there 24/7. So we try and give them as much as information we can, so that they can turn to us and we can convert that query what best way we can do.
One thing which we specifically do is, in our data we capture when a customer's 6 months validity of a passport is expiring. So there especially we sent out messages to them that your passport was to expire in 6 months. So if you travel something, it's better to renew your passport. So these are the small things which keep in mind. If an anniversary is coming, we would try to send out a discount voucher or something like that. Keep them engaged. For me, the passport things really works well, because the customer feels ki he remembered something when I plan a holiday and I realize my passport is not there.
That happens a lot of times. Yeah.
So even when we're talking to the customer for the first time, the first thing we ask is whether you have a valid passport and does it have 6 months validity. That helps us the customer understand that we're talking to an expert and he knows what he's doing and you're in good hands. That's how you start the relationship off also. That is part of the training onboarding process also. While in the CRM also, we are asking certain questions which help with data enrichment also. So having a passport, the validity, are you traveling for the first time, who are you planning this holiday? So all of that gets part of the data enrichment and helps us long term in terms of creating our own data cuts. So we institutionalized it instead of leaving to a volition of somebody who is very good at selling and trying to build something. So unless they fill these questions, they cannot move on to the next clip.
So isme I have a slight challenge, or rather a difference in the way we go about it. What we've noticed is the more questions that you asked, the more your drop-off rate is. So what we've tried to do is simplify the process where your first set of questions is asked, then you send him something, and then engage with the customer again. The more questions you asked, we figured out that more customer tends to get a little irritated at times with Indian customers. So that's just one. Maybe the number of questions they are asking is already limited, but what we figured out for ourselves.
Totally agree for you. Most of the detail enrichment happens post the selling happens.
Okay.
So the first set of questions is just having a passport and have you traveled for the traveling for the
Simple
first
question
time.
होना चाहिए budget कितना
हाँ.
If someone is traveling to Australia, have a budget for 1 lakh, it is of no use to you, honestly. Because that has happened to us many times. You give a code, you keep sending
So
them
I
codes,
ask it politely and a little
and
differently
they don't have
how much
budget.
you're
What is the
planning to
point
spend
sending
on a
me?
destination.
That's a
Then asking
classical.
directly for the
Exactly.
budget.
That's a
Like,
classical
what budget are you
print
going
ad
to spend on
problem.
this particular destination?
You know, Prateek has brought out a classical print ad problem. Earlier, to get the leads, a lot of people were starting at 69,999, and you'll get tons of calls. But वो कॉल का कोई फायदा नहीं है. So therefore we decided we'll go with honest pricing, what we called it. Because it is starting only at 1,99,000. So if you don't have the budget, don't even call me.
There's no point.
Being a little brutal in that sense, but that's the reality.
So there's no point you getting 100 calls a day and there's no conversion because of the information which you provided. That doesn't make sense at all.
And it's also the Indian psyche behavior. पता तो करके देखते हैं, नहीं जाना क्या फर्क पड़ता है.
Because all of us, I think, whether it is Prateek, my branch structure, or Ashutosh's branch structure, we have only limited number of people. The economic resources are the same.
Exactly.
If I have to run 200 branches with 400 people, means average I just have 2 people per branch.
Right.
And same would be for Prateek, even if he's got his 2, 3, 4, 5 people set up. Calls तो उतने ही handle कर सकते हैं ना at the end of the day.
Importantly, the seller starts to get anxious.
Yeah.
If the quality of the lead is so poor, he understands I will not be able to do my number, and the morale keeps on dropping.
Yes. 100%.
That becomes a major challenge.
That's where your challenge between digital leads versus BTL conversions is always there. Digital leads always convert at a low rate.
100%.
Yeah. Insta पे लोग phone number नाम डाल देते हैं.
Again, there are people who just run ad on Instagrams. ठीक है, we also did in past. We didn't get no conversions at all. But with the influencer-led marketing which we have recently started, that's where we are getting the conversions from. Yeah.
So for us, historically, Instagram has given about anywhere between 2.4 to 2.7% of conversion. Just adding one more thing, in terms of the staff also, we never disclose to them from where the query has been generated, whether it's from Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, or a Google ad. Yeah, and again the idea behind is that if 2 people are sitting together and that day Instagram leads hasn't performed, then it becomes a cycle कि Instagram की lead खराब है. So we even protect that. We don't tell them it's a digital lead. You don't know the source behind it. In any case, your Google AdWords lead is much more expensive compared to a Instagram or a Facebook.
Yeah.
But again, if you're doing for a long haul destination, then Google AdWords would be much more a better investment because the kind of customer you get in terms of the long tail keywords and everything is much more research and an active customer.
Yeah.
So again, it's knowing what segment for which destination, which channel works for
Market
you.
and all that.
Currently, at least for us, it is lead driven because when we look at long haul destination, we have certain expertise for Japan, Korea and other things that works. But in terms of the consumer behavior, I agree where you're coming from, but wherever there are barriers, they would always want to go to an expert. It's like always go to a doctor to get a surgery done, no matter how much of YouTube you can watch.
Also, there are certain destinations, Nikhil, which do not even warrant the presence of a travel agent. Let's be very honest about
Maldives.
Right? I'll give you a very simple example. How many of us, and including all 3 of us, and I know it's a bit of a controversial statement, so decide before you put it up. How many of us would want to really come to a Prateek, Romil or Ashutosh to do, including ourselves, including you, to do Goa?
No one. Literally no one.
And Maldives is similar destination now.
Similarly moving towards Maldives. I mean, आपको होटल और फ्लाइट बुक करना है ना, उसके बाद ट्रैवल एजेंट का वैल्यू ऐड क्या है?
But again,
Right.
Romil, there were times when people were coming to you for Goa also.
There was.
So again, it has, you have to
absolutely.
have strategy made all the time. What you're looking, what changes needs to be done. Otherwise, it's
See,
just a
for
sinking
that
ship.
matter,
Simple.
Prateek, for that matter, when COVID ended, tons and tons of people were coming to us from Maldives also.
Yeah, now no one is coming. You
But-
hardly see any booking
But
from Maldives coming.
Goa
I don't
and
even
Maldives,
recognize anything.
you have to have those product in your portfolio. But your expectation of whether you will sell Goa or not has to be real.
That it cannot be
Customer will come
performance
to you
marketing.
where there is a barrier.
Yeah.
Like he said, barrier होगा या scarcity होगी तभी वो हमारे पास आएगा या advisory होगा.
Yes. Yes.
Right, so where he come? Why did people flock to travel agents last year? I'm sure Prateek is a master of Australia, but he would have got tons and tons of people calling him. मुझे कुंभ में जाना है.
100%.
Yeah,
Because there was scarcity. As simple as that.
I would say I would product Australia
Australia.
and performance marketing.
I would spend on brand.
You was on brand. Something
My brand has to be up and above, overarching on the entire marketing piece. You have to keep changing and churning and axing. So,
Trying
for
things.
example, I'll give you an example. I operate multiple markets. In one market, a print ad doesn't work, but in the other market, the print works. So I'll have to keep chopping and churning over a period of time, and seasonality, timing.
I'm already transitioning from moving out of day-to-day operations. My only job is to work with my teams, look at their data, review them, and ask them to execute their plans. Period. Being again an investment banking background, so I understand how MNCs work, what kind of systems they have in place, and why they are successful. It's about having those specific, dedicated professionals doing their job and somebody reviewing them continuously and keeping them on track. It's a slightly loaded question. If the second generation is willing to come in and adapt to the change, then yes. But if it's the original family, the first generation which is doing that, then it is limited.
Depends how updated they are with the products. If they are adding new products or not. So there are a lot of factors, to be honest. But yes, of course they are dying for sure.
Any organization which is going, obviously get your data right. You need to have a data strategy, and data is going to decide how you want to expand your business. One thing which I've often seen is that sellers at the time do a lot of, I wouldn't say exactly mis-selling, but just to pick up a sale would be a lot of gray areas, and while executing that becomes a problem. So if you have a process where your execution and your sales are synced, the customer becomes very happy and he's constantly touching, in the sense that trust factor has to be there, and it has to be institutionalized. It cannot be one person doing it and the other person not doing it.
So I will use a word which we have picked up as our mantra for 2026, which is a word called customer obsession. This is our business mantra for 2026 and beyond. We are obsessed with the customer, and you have to do things which the customer wants to do. Saying is very easy, but execution is the focus. So you can have hundreds of ideas, but the reality also is that execution eats strategy for breakfast, lunch and dinner. So you have to keep executing relentlessly for the customer. There will be situations where you will have to take your hits on your business, on your P&L, but as a business leader, you have to have that courage and the ability to take those decisions. And I'm sure every organization will back that. Mine certainly does. So we are moving in that direction, and that's what we want to do.
So I think changing strategy from time to time, identify what marketing strategy is working well for you. So like I previously said, for tier 2, tier 3 cities, BDL activities is perfectly working fine for us. Even today, even before COVID, even now. So we'll keep doing that. Influencers marketing is something which we have launched. It is working absolutely fine for us, for our company. May not be working fine for other companies. Right? So I think you need to identify what marketing strategy is really working for you.